just like every student who has taken my class, and I don't know what year that is, but everybody on that campus knows my classroom. Why? Because I got a sign on my door, and they read the sign, and what does the sign say? If you don't want to work hard, you don't belong here. And if you don't want to lead, under no circumstances, walk through my door. Then if you got the guts, you got the power, you got the temerity to walk into my classroom, there's another sign, take 5 steps and turn to your right. They've seen the signs. And what does that sign say? It says, mediocrity is not the standard in this class. Now, you can be mediocre someplace else, but damn it, you can't be mediocre here. You can't be. Now, who in the world taught me that? I interviewed her twice, Rachel Robinson, Jackie Robinson's widow. I said, Miss Robinson, what was it like being married to the man who broke the color barrier in baseball? She said, well, Jack only lived by one rule. And I said, what is that? She said, excellence is the norm, not the exception. Excellence is the norm, not the exception. Now, you came here and you told me that you were empowered. When you are the best at what you do, it's game over. You never have to worry about income, and you never have to worry about employment. Why? The marketplace will seek you out. The marketplace will seek you out. And we're going to talk about, and I'm so glad that you highlighted your values, your 7 core values. I'm going to give you 3 key components today, and one of them is about values. And what do we know about values? Don't you ever compromise your values. Don't you ever compromise your values. As a matter of fact, you are in life right now by the values that you have set. So we know all about leadership, driven, the work is a calling, blah, blah, blah. What do we know about leaders? Leaders make things happen. All right? Years ago, when I taught entrepreneurship, everybody wants to teach at the MBA level. Man, I want to teach at them. Why is it important you teach at the MBA level? Because you don't hear excuses. The dog ate my homework. My computer broke down. Man, I didn't know we had class today. I thought somebody said they canceled, Well, it's been a number of years since I've been at the MBA level, all right? But when I was, several years ago, I always taught entrepreneurship. That is my class. That's what I'm known for. And I always use the Bill Gates case. I always use the Bill Gates case. And what do you know about Bill Gates? Well, it depends. You go ahead and read the Harvard business case. And what does Harvard say? Spring semester is freshman year. Bill Gates drops out of Harvard. Why? Because in between classes, he and his best friend, Paul Allen, go to a bookstore. And they gravitate over to the magazine section and they stumble upon a magazine that's throwing out a challenge for anybody who can come up with an operating system that would allow 2 computers to talk. Now, I might be the oldest individual in this room. I am walking distance. At the end of next month, I will be 67 years old. And I remember when you had 50 million different PC manufacturers in the early 1980s, and none of them could share data. Why? They didn't have an operating system, 50 million different operating systems. So they stumble upon this magazine, throwing out this challenge, and what does Bill Gates do? He goes to the desert, New Mexico, for the next 7 years of his life, takes a team of 7 with him. Fast forward the videotape 7 years, he comes out with his Windows program that would finally allow computers to trade information. And what does he do? The first thing he does, he picks up the phone and he calls the president of Encyclopedia Britannica. He said, sir, you don't know me, but me and my team have been out here, and we finally came up with an operating system that will allow 2 computers to talk. And if you get on our desktop, I know you never heard the word before, new jargon, new lexicon in the industry. If you get on our desktop, you can sell all the Encyclopedia Britannicas you want for $10 a pop. And what is the CEO of Encyclopedia Britannica? What does he say? What is his retort? What is his reply? He says, young man, are you out of your mind? $10 a pop? We sell a set, 24 books in our set for more than $1,000. I suggest that you call somebody else. Click, and hangs up on Bill Gates. True story. A few minutes goes by, Bill Gates dusts off his low self-esteem, and he summons up the courage to make a second phone call. And this time he called the president of Encarta. And don't you know, before the game was over, Encyclopedia Britannica couldn't even give their books away. Now, Dr. Kimbro, what in the world does that have to do with you? Sometimes it's risky not to take a risk. Sometimes it's risky not to take a risk. What does that have to do with wealth? The average individual in our society gets 4 ideas a year, any one of which, if you had the guts, if you had the fortitude, if you had the courage, if you had the temerity to blast forward and move out, would make you financially independent. But what do? We dismiss it. Now, we got folks here in the corporate sector and the social sector. I know you got 50 million ideas in the back of your mind right now that would make your job more efficient and more effective. That would put you on the cutting edge. That would place you and your company on the firing line. Well, what in the world is stopping you from doing it? What in the world is stopping you from doing? Part of that is grit. Don't you know you can take a class at Harvard called grit? They got a class at Harvard Business School called grit. And what is grit? Grit is persistence. And what is persistence? Persistence is believing in yourself when no one else will. And what is the soul of persistence? What do we even know about success? Success is a statistical event. I tell my students, and my colleagues hate for me to talk like this, but I got to tell my students the truth. Why am I Dr. Kimbro? Am I Dr. Kimbro because I'm smarter than you? Hell no, I'm Dr. Kimbro because I got more college hours than you have. You get the same number of college hours I have, and you'll be Dr. Whoever. Success is a statistical event. That's all it is. Now, these are 3 individuals that I interviewed for my 5th book, and they really encapsulate what we call grit. There's Bob Johnson. Got a chance to interview him twice. And what do you know about Bob Johnson? Yeah, he's the founder of BET, but don't you know that twice a month for almost 2 years, no matter where he was, he caught a flight, flew to Chicago, rented a car in Chicago, drove to Oak Brook, Illinois, and sat in the lobby of McDonald's corporate headquarters waiting for anybody to come out of the marketing department or advertising. Why? Because he knew BET wouldn't be on the air if he didn't have a major sponsor. 2 years. Baby girl, that's grit. Who was the woman in the middle? Michelle Hoskins, Hoskins Syrup. Anybody from Chicago? You know about her. She got that recipe, was passed down generation to generation, and no one did anything with it. She says, this is my epiphany. This is my high watermark. I'm following through with this. And what did she do every Monday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning for 2 straight years? She called Denny's. She knew that her business would go under if she didn't have a major account. And what occurred? She became Walmart, one of Walmart's first minority suppliers. And who are you looking at on the left? That's Greg Baranko. His wife is a trustee at Clark Atlanta University. But Greg Baranko, here is a young man, got his degree in business administration from Southern University. One dream, one vision. Remember I said the most dangerous individuals without a hope. One dream, one vision. What do you want to do? He wants to sell cars. That's all he ever wanted to do. But big problem. The #1 car dealership in Baton Rouge was Audubon Ford. And we are going back to the 80s. What happened in the 1970s at Audubon Ford? Blacks weren't even allowed in the showroom. You had African Americans buying cars at Audubon Ford, and they had to do the deal out on the parking lot. 5 seconds after Greg Baranko gets his degree from Southern University in Business Administration, he goes right to Audubon Ford, stands out there in the parking lot waiting for the sales manager to come. Sales manager comes, Baranko hands him a resume, extends his hand and says, my name is Greg Baranko and I'm here to help you sell cars. He takes one look at this brother and he says, I'm sorry, we don't have any openings. Greg Baranko says, fine. 24 hours later, goes back to the same dealership, stands right there in the parking lot. Sales manager comes out, hands him a resume, extends his hand. Hi, my name is Greg Baranko, and I'm here to help you sell cars. Didn't I see you yesterday? Yeah. What did I tell you yesterday? That you didn't have any openings. Well, I just thought something might have changed overnight, and I didn't want to miss out. Look, damn it, he did that for 30 straight days. 30 straight days until they finally gave up and gave in. That record that Greg Baranko set at Audubon Ford still stands today. Most cars sold in a 30-day period. So what can we learn from these case studies? People don't care about you until they know how much you care about them. And what is grit? Like I said, grit is believing in yourself.